Hello. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Whew. Are you ready? Man, welcome to those who watch the replay. Thank you for coming in. My name is Mary Jane Tracy. I'm a psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach, an astrologer, and a truth seeker. Maybe that's what I'm going to call myself, a truth seeker of information and how information comes to me. So good morning. Good morning, Candace. Nice to see you. Hey, Dana. How you doing? Thanks, guys, for coming on in today. Wow. Things may not be what you think that you want them to be. That was a card I drew this morning for the my Instagram tarot. So things may not be the way that you think that they will be. You know, it's coming into, you know, of course, came in love, the lover card, and then the world card came in. So it's about seeking the truth and staying to the truth. Venus has gone into Capricorn. Mercury has gone into Aquarius. Mercury is at the great conjunction point of Saturn and Jupiter there. And he's going to be in Aquarius for some time because he is going to be retrograding in Aquarius and in Pisces. So he's going to be doing some retrograding there. So he's going to be there for a while. So we'll be seeing him slow down later on this month and then going retrograde. Venus, this is going to be her first out of 2 times this year she will be in Capricorn, which is something because we only, you know, usually she whips around. We don't see that in one year. But of course, what year has been normal in this last few years, since 2017 at least, or even beyond that? So we have this energy that she will be coming back, and she will retrograde in Capricorn at the end of this year. When she comes into Capricorn, she wants to smooth things out, right? She's kind of like it's the energy that comes in where, you know, yes, there is a structure. Yes, there are things that we all have to do and how things are to be done. But she wants to smooth things out. Like, you know, she comes in with this loving energy of saying, okay, you know what? I know things can be a little bit rough here, but let's smooth it out a bit. Let's make it a little bit easier. And stop trying to repress stuff. Stop trying to repress things. So if you're trying to repress or trying to jump through hoops for people, for your job, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. So jumping through hoops is just not going to work to go to the new direction that you want to go into. And Mars is actually, you know, and Mars and Mercury, they're squaring off today. So that's a lot of intensity, and that's earth energy, right? So one is, you know, air and earth energy. So it's kind of like a tornado spinning. So you got to think, and where Mars is, you know, he takes on the energy of whoever he's around. So if he's around a benefic, he's a benefic. If he's a malefic, takes on that malefic energy. So he's in between 2 malefics, which is Pluto and Saturn. So he takes on that malefic energy. Mars isn't exactly strong right now. He's gone into grumpy land. So he's in grumpy land with the godfather, which is Uranus. So here he is, and Uranus isn't too happy either, but he's like sitting on his stone palace and his stone throne and just making the best of things as he can, as he's sitting there in Earth watching things unroll. Now, Uranus is a director of the universe. You know, he is that of the energies of the higher gods and bringing in that energy of the higher gods. And what I'm finding unique is information. I mean, everything that's gone through, and of course we all know what happened. I mean, the day of the riot in DC was the day of the Epiphany in the church, Ukrainian Christmas. So that was very unique. And how I've always said to people, and I've always said this, the church has more power than what people know. Same with the Queen. The Queen has more power and is involved in more things then we are privy to, and how they interact and how they roll. Now, my feeling when working with the earth energies is the earth knows it's being disrespected. The earth knows it wants to bring people in that are going to respect the earth, going to respect how timelines should flow. And interesting enough, in 2020, the earth did some, and I'm going to call them glitches. So what it means is like the earth kind of stutters when it's kind of does a wobble. And it does this every year. Like it's just something that the earth does as it's going around the sun and with the gravitational pulls. Well, it did 15 of these glitches in 1 year last year in 2020. So did these little glitches, which added up to a decrease of 1 second of time. So that throws off a lot. 1 second throws off a lot. Our calendar really isn't in sync with how the earth rotates and how the earth flows. Like it is, the Gregorian calendar is a church calendar. It was set up by the church. And it doesn't really flow with, per se, how the earth does its flow. And it took a while for the rest of the world to get onto this Gregorian calendar. It wasn't until later on into the Victorian age that it really caught on and people started to use it more in a world sense. Because for things to flow, we want everybody to be on kind of like the same kind of calendar. Yet this calendar is almost where it's where there is this energetic ball that's coming in that is wanting some sort of change, trying to glitch us up, trying to wake us up. And many times, and I've told you this before, is that I do see timelines. Like I'll be driving along and it's like I see things being built as I'm going along. And it's like, whoa, are we being put into a different timeline? Are we putting into different glitches as we move along? And it just feels like someone's been playing with time. Someone's been playing with how time is flowing and how things are. They still want your reality to look somewhat normal, even though a manipulation is coming through. That's just one of my things. And I really, and I'm going to throw that out there. And I know that's kind of like, what? That's crazy. But they can do holograms that are pretty crazy. What is it? 10 years ago, they had Tupac show up at at the music festival, Coachella, and they had him show up. Like he did a whole concert there. It was pretty rad. And that was 10 years ago. So doing different holograms and changes and things like that is nothing new. NASA has been working with this for quite some time and working with timelines and different dimensions and finding different dimensions. And they have found at least 25 different dimensions besides our own, right? Oh my God, I can't think of her. Dolores Cannon talked about this also. Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, Candace. Dolores Cannon talked about this also, right? And about the timelines and about, how the timelines, they're simultaneous. They go on at the same time. So there is no past or future. Everything happens in the now. Now, with this, and where I'm getting to this, is that there's been even different things when we look at how things are appearing and how things are being portrayed to us, right? Is getting it's getting weirder, right? You're looking at all her books last night and downloaded a few. Yeah. And it's into her books are fabulous. Like her books are really fabulous. It sometimes takes a couple reads, to really like, because she really, depending on where you're starting, because each one builds onto the other with Dolores. So each book that she does, it's wherever, because whenever she went into a past life regression with somebody, it also took her to a place to be able, it is working with these energies, right? And giving her more and more information. So it's like, when you're starting off at kindergarten, we're not going to give you algebraic questions to, these great big algebraic questions. We're going to start off with simplicity on, 1 + 1 is 2. How do we get, and then 2 + 2 is 4. So they start off very simple and then they build up. And, with her accidental death, I think she, in some ways, yes, it was accident, but you just never know with shit, right? Never know with shit, because when people are trying to bring out truth, they disappear. They disappear. And that's what I'm noticing, and we're going to get back to the Vatican, that I'm noticing is that there's a lot that does not want truth to come out and wanting platforms to come out, right? And wanting these certain platforms. And yesterday, and it was just, I asked, and that's what I do. I go to my guides and I say, hey, this is kind of strange, but I have a weird feeling. Can you help me, guide me with this? And I found one tweet of this woman who nobody follows randomly, and I hardly ever go on Twitter. I really don't. And I found hers, and there it was. And I'm just like, oh, Vatican. So I clicked on it, which led me to a gentleman called Simon Parks. And Simon Parks has been around for a while. He has over 1 million views. He gets different people on there and talking about things and stuff like that. She saw her death. She may have saw her death, but it was very unexpected. She wasn't even, there was some extenuating situations that happened with her death. So I think there's the other things that happen with her death. That's just a feeling I have. Could be wrong, And anyways, and then I found out from other people too about and seeing if this was truth. And it has to do with the Vatican. And the Vatican, years ago, when my sister worked for RBC, this is back in the 60s and 70s, she would come home and she would say to my dad, and I remember the conversations because my father would get so upset with her, that how much the Vatican has invested in different corporations and how they make sure that they get a majority part or a 1% majority rule in certain corporations. Everything from Wonder Bra to scientific, Pfizer, right? They have interest in it because they want to make sure that they can have some control over it in some way, in somewhere, some manner. Church has always done that. Church and science has always had an issue. Galileo, when he came out with the earth was round, is like, no, everything has to circular. The church didn't want information going out because they want to keep control, right? The best way to keep control over the masses is through fear and manipulation. So in order to keep their narrative going, the left is where they sway. Now, this is not everybody within the church or with the Roman Catholic Church. There's fabulous Catholics out there. But I'm talking about the Pope. I'm talking about people in the Vatican. I'm talking about those that are in control. Okay? Now, the Italian army has satellites. They leased 2 satellites to the Vatican. And these 2 satellites are not spy satellites. They're encrypting satellites. That means that they take information, they can encrypt it and manipulate it and then resend it somewhere else. They have found through, I'm going to call them, I guess, the good guys for investigation, that without a shadow of a doubt, that the Vatican had something to do with elections and the manipulations of elections through their encryptions and sending it back. Crazy. Now you're wondering why there is so much coming out that people want to censor. I mean, first of all, when you censor the president, I don't give a who the fuck it is, you're censoring the president. There's some kind of controller narrative that is coming down in order to control things or control people, right? And this is where we start to see things go crazy, because Italy is part of NATO and it is part of the European bloc. So this is very sensitive issues. It's not like Russia. Russia is not a part of it. We can go after Russia, blah, 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 right? But Italy, you know, and as I said, you will be surprised on the information that's going to come out on who is the allies and who are not your allies within the world. Who you think are good bedfellows will not be the good bedfellows that you think they are. Who you think is in charge is not really who is in charge. And this is going back to how many years with the church being in charge? It's not 2,000 years, because it took a while for the church to even be formed, right? And it wasn't through Constantine that the church was actually formed under one God. And the Apostles' Creed was created, where he created that Jesus Christ was God, all right? Because there are so many different religions. This creation, or this happening, is showing you that there are so many different energies at play. And the astrology that we are going through, nobody on earth has ever lived through this type of energy before. And through the transition and the changes that have happened. It's like maybe once in a year you have certain planets conjunct, and then you don't see it again for maybe, you know, a couple hundred years or what have you, and then it's not in the same way that they meet up again, or it's just very quickly. So this is where we're going to be, that we are seeing how things are starting to change. And the encryptions that is coming down around us. We're also going to see, and especially, I mean, we had the Governor General of Canada even state that anything to do with astrology or anything to do with holistic healing and the occult that isn't scientific is wrong. So we're going to start seeing more of those who are in a holistic healing modalities, or those who are out there with astrology, even though more people are wanting to come out because we're in the age of astrology, more people are wanting to get the information, more people are wanting to really get learning more about this. And it's so much easier than it was 10 years ago to learn astrology and do charts, that we're finding more want to come out and do it. Yet we're finding this big heavy mass that wants to stop us from shining our light and doing what we need to do. And that's where we have to come back into our love, come back into our light. There is where, you know, this is bringing in a lot of, with Venus trining Mars, a lot of interesting energy starting to unveil itself for us. And we don't have a lot of fire right now in the sky. So trying to get things done is like, if you're trying to do it the hard way, if you're trying to go through, like, you know, go through a bunch of traps to try and figure shit out, and you're trying to go, oh, well, you got to go this way and then do this and do that. Don't. It's not going to be worth your time. It's not going to work out. But if you come back and you sort of say, you know what, I'm going to, take a moment here and take a look at the direction I would like to go into and see where there is more of a flow for me, that's the way you're going to go. You're going to find today, especially with the Mars and Mercury, a lot of barking. A lot of people, like a hound dog or a junkyard dog, a lot of people, because it's that tornado energy coming in and stirring things up and spewing things. And so you're going to see this all over the media. And with the energies of the media coming out, because the media has a higher agenda. They all have this higher agenda of how this is going to work. And that goes back to the satellite and the encryptions, because it has to go back to, not only the governments, but, everyone else that is involved with it. And this isn't left or right. This is both sides. This is both sides. Because neither one, left or right, is for the betterment of the energies of the earth. Neither one of them are in alignment for allowing for things to flow. And since the ending of the Mayan calendar in 2012, we've noticed that there's been a lot of glitches coming in because we're not in alignment with working with the energies of the earth and coming into the ebb and a flow, allowing ourselves to work with ebb and a flow of the energies and within our own energies, being forced to live a narrative which is not our narrative, which causes stress upon our body. And then we fall into what I was talking about yesterday with Huna, is the media, right? So the media, so it's the thoughts that go out that cause disruption and cause energies to get broken up within inside ourselves. And when things get broken up inside ourselves, we try different ways to wiggle our way out instead of going with a flow, instead of going with an energy. I just felt a shift right now. Whew. An energy shift just came in, as I said, trying to find a flow. So my guides are showing me that we have to go with a flow and allow ourselves not to come into the calmness. Yes, thank you. Coming into the calmness with this all. It's important. It's important. With a lot to do with censorship coming forward, we're going to be seeing it more and more and more. And more is going to come in where people are not going to be able to say what they need to say. So they're going to have to, we're going to find a lot of alternate platforms coming out with where you're going to have to kind of seek for them. And things like, say Facebook or Instagram or any of those are going to be they want them very neutral, right? Because they don't want to cause uprise. So it's very much like Demolition Man. Very follow this status quo, follow this, don't make any weird vibes, and make sure that you are following what we are saying to follow. The Pope came out the other day and was telling that everybody should get the vaccination. When I start hearing that raises a red flag for me too. That was the other reason why I wanted to have more information on this, because he's going for the Great Reset. And the reset is having one currency, universal, wages, and everybody thinks that that's totally fabulous and it's great and it sounds fabulous and great in a utopia world, but it isn't, because when you are not allowed to grow, when you are not allowed to create in a way that brings out your true essence, causes more depression and stagnation within people, causes more disease than anything else. And this is where we have to continue our fight for continuing to shine our light in different ways, whether that is planting seeds, going out and planting a tree, spending time in nature, things along that line. I mean, that is coming into a flow, that is coming into a vibration. Working with the ebbs and the flow, working with the moon, understanding the moon is in Scorpio right now. It's making sextiles over to Neptune. It's very, I mean, even though the moon hates Scorpio, really doesn't like to be in there. It's like, that's one of the water. It's like, get me out of this water, baby, because I don't want to be in here. This is taking me to the depths when I want to go to the heights, right? The moon wants to illuminate. And wants to be at the height, right? Making some sextiles over to Neptune allows for some of the illumination to come through, and allowing for that illumination for us to grab hold of. And that's what we got to do. We always have to come back to our center. We always have to come back to our spirituality, in amongst all the crazy and the manipulations that are happening in and around our world at this time. And we're being manipulated in so many ways, left or right. And that's in every single country. Every single country. And how we're finding out, like I posted a video of this one person who came out in 2014, described everything that was going to be happening, right down to a T. Same with The Simpsons. Describing everything that's been happening right down to a T. Kind of crazy and freaky there. Everybody's going to start watching Simpsons. What's going to happen next? So with the things that, with the energies that are coming forth, are a battle of our sovereignty, a battle of our essence, of our truth and our true being of being human. And the strands right now of the virus, like the Ebola, is actually patent under the U.S. United States government patent the Ebola, so it is a patent virus and strains of it. And so Wuhan is patent too, and that's why you got strains coming out in UK and South Africa, because they're going to be patent, because that's going to help their pharmacies, their big tech people, right? So that's the thing. It goes out, with everything else. It's like has to do with the FBI, CIA, media, status, big tech companies, making money. So this is why the more, I've said this for years, grassroots is where it's at. Grassroots, starting at the grassroots, creating your utopia within your world, within the people you want around, working with your community. That is going to be key in going forward with the energies and growing your community the way that brings in the harmony and the peace and the love and allowing it to shine. That's going to be very important, and that's very Aquarius. Not bringing in the community that is very militant. That's not what we want. We don't want the militant one, because that's very much like the iPhone factories in China. We don't want that. We want to bring in the communities that are going to allow for the harmony and growth, and allow for discussions to happen even with differences. That means being able to listen to somebody even though you don't like their opinion, which is fine. You don't have to like their opinion, but it's their essence as a human being that comes through. That's where the truth comes in. And that's where we need to really flow with. So we need to flow with this essence of our 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 truth with all of this and all of the craziness that's going to come in. Timelines are shifting. There's a lot of time shifting, that's coming forward. And you might, with that, it might throw you off, make you feel dizzy. It might make you feel like all of a sudden you hit a vortex or you hit some energy and it's kind of like you get slightly disoriented. You also have to look at your nervous system and lymphatic system also, and how to make sure that you are bringing in some really good foods and good energies in and around you. There is a constant cleansing and clearing that we have to do, and also really watching for the psychic attacks. Because just because somebody looks good, and that's what I'm finding more and more, it's like, whoa, this person looked like it's like, okay, they looked like they were doing something, and oh, was I cast underneath that spell? So you might be noticing a lot of spells that you were under are being broken because your vibration is changing and your awareness is changing. So you're realizing that certain energies are just like, whoa, that person had me, and now I can see the corruption and the manipulation that energy was doing upon me and my life. And that's where, that's when you find it, especially when it's like the Pope, where a lot of people are like, yeah, well, he was saying some really good things and stuff, but now he's telling me I need to take a vaccine. And oh my God, they own 2 satellites that were released by the Italian government that is encrypting information that has to do with elections. What else are they encrypting? What else are they in control of? Because not everything that you're allowed to see, right? Nobody's allowed to go down into the library. You just can't just walk into the Catholic library, the Vatican library. And how much money they have that could actually help the world and help the people, help those who are in need, and create a better, to create jobs and help farmers or help entrepreneurial women without trying to manipulate them spiritually or sexually. Because that's the other thing too, because there's a lot of manipulation that comes in with that, and manipulating people spiritually and sexually. You see that in the Middle East too. There's a lot of manipulation in there too when it comes down to it. So this is a shakeup. This is a new era coming in of shaking up and getting us to boost. And, that's the thing, boosting our immune system, boosting everything up that we need to start boosting. Any questions, anybody? I always throw that out every once in a while if anybody has any questions. But when this card showed up, when the Ten of Cups showed up reversed, that's putting a lot of pressure on oneself, putting pressure on the way that you want things to look and be and have. It's got to look this way. It's got to do this thing. And not coming into where you need to, because this is a major arcana, right? So the major arcana comes in, and there is the angel there. There's the angel of love that comes in. And, there is that of, he's looking at her and she's looking at him, right? And there's the vulnerability of it all, right? And looking at that vulnerability of the energies that they're creating. She's looking for guidance and wanting to have that guidance and looking at the guidance of the higher self. So the feminine is leading the way, coming into your feminine energy, not dismissing the masculine. We don't dismiss the masculine, but it is the women who are the teachers. And we have to come in as the teachers and as the keepers of the land and the keepers of the ebb and the flow to allow it to continue on. So we can go on to something new. And look at, I mean, this card has all the fixed energies, right? So we have the fixed energies, and we have the Leo, we have the bull, we have the air, and we have the fire, the inspiration, right? So we have, or the water. So we have all the fixed energies that are around there to create things, because we do need it all. We do need all of those 4 directions and those 4 elements. We need the bull, we need the steady, we need to go on and do the steadiness. We need the fire to bring in the passion. We need the water to bring in the inspiration and the intuition and the feelings. And we need the air to allow us to direct us to build the communities that we need to build, in order for us to have that energy as above, so below. We're heading on to some new roads in these next few days. And I know that you've probably heard the 10 days of darkness. Doesn't mean everything's going to go dark, but we're going, especially astrological, there's a lot of energies that are coming in. The new moon that's going to be coming in is at 23 degrees. And coming in at a point of change. So that new moon is going to be extremely powerful. And it's going to be another catalyst of pushing things forward. And with this, you know, with Saturn in Aquarius, because when Saturn went into Aquarius last time, that came in the major lockdowns, and then with Mars. So we have some major energies that are coming in to try and conform us in a way, because, you know, still Saturn likes conformity. And look at areas that are trying to get you to conform and be in a certain way. So this is where when it comes into, when, you know, in shamanic studies, there's 7 elements that we look at. And the 7 powers are thought, connection, attention, present moment, love, will, and results. Those are the 7 elements of shamanism and of Huna. So we have these different elements that are coming in that are getting us to, what are your thoughts? What are your connections to your thoughts? And what are those thoughts bringing the attention to? Where's your attention going? Is your attention on God and the goddess? Is your intention on the higher spirit? Or is your intention on, oh my God, they're saying this and they're saying that? And when it does that, it gets you out of your present moment, right? And we want to, and it is a practice. It is a practice. It is strengthening our vessel, our body. We're strengthening our vessel. The higher self has to reach down to us and pull us up. It's very difficult for us to reach up, because trying to reach up and we're not ready, it's just going to be like a cat trying to hit a ball. It's just like, oh, look at that. Is that pretty? And very few of us get there. Some of us get there for a little bit, and then it's a very hard place to live, especially when we're in a 3D world. So, my loves, on January 28th, I have my spell casting or conjuring, my conjuring workshop, and I'm charging $25 a week for each week. It's going to go for about 6 weeks. It may go for 8, we'll see. But I have 6 weeks of information to come out on how to create spells, to curse or not to curse. I have one on that, how to write a spell, how to cast a circle. So each week we bring in a new and different element on bringing in how to create conjuring and working with different elements, from herbs to crystals in your spell work, and creating that element of what it is that you want to create. Some of the books that I will be working with, Sticks, Stones, Roots, and Bones is one of them. That's one. I got my Hoodoo and Voodoo book. I have my spell casting book that I do, my different divination books that I have written that are in PDF that I've gotten down, and pulling out a little bit from the Incense Oils and Brews. That's a good book. So it's by Scott Cunningham. So this is a really good book, just to have on hand. So for anybody, for a reference book, any Scott Cunningham, I think is a good book to have. I like him. God bless him, as he is over handling things on the other side for us all. So this is, I mean, he has things on how to make inks in here. So information on making inks, ointments, different types of ointments, psychic power ointments, vision ointments, witch's ointment, caution, it has hemlock and in there, but and we have all kinds of different things in here. So he has different oils in here. Oh, this is a good one here, guys, because this is the year of Hecate. A Hecate oil. I'm going to give this to you. So get your pen, write this down. 3 drops of myrrh, 2 drops of cypress, 1 drop of patchouli, and 1 dried mint leaf. Mix the oil in a base of sesame seed oil. Add the dried mint leaf to the blend. Wear during rituals of defense magic. Also wear during the waning moon in honor of Hecate, the goddess of the fading crescent. So that would be also a really good one for protection too. So if you're going somewhere and you need extra protection, the Hecate oil would be absolutely fabulous, right? So, and bringing those 3 in. And if you want, you don't have to, if you have just a little bit of mint, you could just, grind up a little bit of the mint and put it in there. So that could be it for you too. And he has oils for the different signs. So he has Capricorn oil in here, Gemini oil, Leo oil, and working with the different elements, Libra oil. He does have a protection oil, which is petitgrain and black pepper. Black pepper is always a good one to have. A black pepper essential oil. And you can add black pepper to your salt if you want to put and add an extra oomph for protection. If you're worried about different energies coming in and around you, especially your home. Just be careful if you're doing that around your business, because the thing is that you want to protect yourself, yeah, but you don't want to ban everybody from your business, because you want to create prosperity and abundance. And so you want to, maybe bring people in there that are for the highest good for all. And sometimes somebody might be in a bad way, and they might be in a bad mood. The energies might pick that up as a negativity and then not allow them into your place, where them coming into the place could be where they need to pick up the whatever you're selling in order to help them with whatever's going on. So think of it, that's why it's really good to understand energies and the oils that you're using. So a great book. I haven't looked at this one for a while. But this is a really nice one. It has an oil for Ostra. So, and he does have an embolic one in here also too. So, and incense. So this is really a nice little handy dandy little book. It's by Scott Cunningham. You can get this on Amazon. You can download it too. I think there's different places you can get it in the PDF. So there's that one too. So those are the books that I'll be using when I teach the conjuring, and plus some of my own PDFs that I've done up too, which you'll be receiving as handouts throughout the course. So big churches should be paying tax. Yeah, I agree, Candace. Big churches should be paying taxes. But if I become a church, I don't want to pay taxes. Become the church of the guru mama of the spiritual coffee shop. The spiritual coffee shop church. There you go. Come, drink coffee, have tea. Come on. Let's have some water. Let's sit around, chit chat, and let's create a community and start spreading out some positivity and love out there. So, so thank you everyone for joining me, and thank you for being a part of my community. I'm going to send you guys out with so much blessings today. Spread this out. Like my YouTube page. Please go to my YouTube page and like it. It is Mary Jean Tracy, the Guru Mama. You'll see my picture up there. So like it, give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up. I want to get at least 1,000 followers on there. And February 1st, my Patreon page will be totally completed and ready for action for people to go out there onto the Patreon page. So sending you out so much love today. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and being here today with me. And just watch how things are moving today. You're going to find, when it comes to timelines, they're just going to get crazier over this next little while. So have a blessed one, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.